Everybody get up, it's time to slam now. We got the real jam going down. Welcome to the Space Jam. Here's your chance, do your dance at the Space Jam.
All right, back here on the podcast. Time to wrap it up so we have a little pop culture. The last couple weeks, we've been kind of theming our pop culture segments. We did golf movies, Alan Austin 2 weeks ago. Last week, Pete Considori gave us his favorite hockey movies. This week, we are talking about one basketball movie only. We have one that has to be discussed. It is the great Space Jam. And bringing us home this week with the Space Jam coverage, our pop culture correspondent, probably the number one Space Jam fan I know, Sam Derosa. Sam, welcome. How are you?
Thanks for having me. I like the introduction very much.
It is not. It is accurate, is it not?
No, I'll let it be accurate. I don't think I'm the all-time number one Space Jam fan, but I feel like I'm up there.
I said the
percentages.
Well, to be fair, I said the number one Space Jam fan I know.
Okay, all right. So, all right, I'll take it.
Yeah, we'll get to Space Jam in just a minute. Before we get started, though, I want to ask you, because this is a basketball theme thing. We are talking a little Jordan today. You watched The Last Dance. What were your thoughts on the whole thing?
I did. I thought it was one of the best. I know it sounds lame. It's one of the best documentaries I've seen. I thought it was very well done, very well documented. It was just it was really cool to see I was little when Jordan was really popular. It was just really awesome to see behind the scenes, the truth behind, Jordan's truth behind everything. I was really sad to see it end. We'll just put it that way.
Yeah, I wish we had another couple of episodes coming out of it. I did love how honest Jordan was throughout the whole thing. We got to see the real him for the first time, I think, ever. I think he came out a huge winner from it.
Yeah, and I think that we now will see the more true Jordan going on in life than we have before. I feel like he's been very closed off, and then this documentary, since it had such good reviews and positive reactions to it, that we'll see more of who he is as a person.
Yes, I would agree with that. And let's get into his other work here, his other pop culture work. We'll get to Space Jam. So, do you remember the first time you saw Space Jam?
Yeah, my first time I saw Space Jam, I was at Iona College day camp. I was maybe 8. The movie came out in 96 or something.
Yep.
So a couple of years out, 96, I was 3. Sorry to put my age out there. So I was a little too young to fully understand it, but I remember the first time seeing it. It was a rainy day. We were at the Hagen School of Business way back then. We sat in the basement and watched it on a rainy day, and I was like, this is the best movie that has ever been created. I was just super excited to watch it, being 6 years old, 5, 6 years old.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, this came out, and I was right in that sweet spot when it came out, being 6, 7 years old. I'm this is awesome. Jordan's playing basketball, the Looney Tunes, all the all the cartoon stuff was so funny. I remember as you watch it as you're an adult, obviously you're okay, this is hella corny, but it's still a lot of fun.
Well, I mean, I thought, even looking back now, I'm this is great animation for that time being. I was super stoked about it. I'm he's in Toontown. This is so cool. I don't know. Even now, I'm still pretty excited about it.
Yeah, it was definitely fun to watch. And let's not give anybody any further delay. Let's go to the good old-fashioned spoiler warning. I don't know why we're putting it up here, but it is tradition when we talk about movies.
Whoa, that's 24 years in the making? There's plenty of time to watch this.
Yes, so just for tradition. Again, people, if you've not seen Space Jam, what's wrong with you? Go watch the movie and then come back and listen to this. But I gotta say, it definitely was fun going back into it. And I talk about at the top of the show, how crazy the world is right now. And it was nice to, escape a little bit, go into Toon World, see Jordan the Toon suiting up, playing some basketball. It was definitely a nice refresher considering the environment we're in right now.
Yeah, no, it's great to be you know what? It's an excuse to fire up my DVD player, turn on a lighthearted movie. It was just great. And I'm more Michael Jordan, sign me up.
Yeah, indeed. And one thing I forgot about watching this is man, the opening credits of this movie were long.
so long. I also, like, when you mentioned that earlier, I was just like, you're so right. That is a very long opening credit sequence. Like,
Yeah, it's like
crazy.
we listed like obviously, I mean, Jordan's gonna stop billing. Bugs Bunny being second is hilarious. I still love that to this day that he's the second
Yeah.
credited person in this movie. And then it's like we got through all the basketball players, all the other actors, and we basically went through every production person. It felt like to get to as excuse to show Jordan highlights in the open. I thought that was great.
Yeah, and it's funny too because I think this is the first time where I'm like, wow, this is really dragging. Like, maybe I'll hit the fast forward button for a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Like, nuts.
Yeah, and the whole movie's only 97 minutes, so it's not like there's a lot of like actual stuff in there.
Yeah, it's probably 7 minutes of opening credits, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it was 7 minutes opening credits, and I did enjoy that. And the obvious thing we have to go to after watching The Last Dance, like, do you feel that either Swackhammer or Stan, the guy played by Wayne Knight, is either of them or both of them possibly a metaphor for Jerry Krause?
when I'm like, you approached me about this idea, I it didn't approach my mind because honestly, like, I just like keep things I can't, I keep things separate in my brain. But once you said it, I was like, oh my God, they're both him.
Yeah.
Like, I can see both of them being him, especially Stan, because like that backstage footage, dancing and stuff with the team, with the Bulls. I was just like, oh my God, that's Stan. He's like kind of like, I can't think of the word. But like, he's there like all the time, like trying to be their buddy and everything. So yeah. I'm like, oh my God, that's definitely him.
Yeah, I definitely saw that. I also saw like the way the Swackhammer cartoon look was like way too reminiscent of Jerry Krause's like actual figure.
Yeah, without like fully being identical to him. It's crazy.
I mean, down to the habit of smoking cigars. I'm like, wow, they really took a shot at Jerry Krause here.
Yeah, because since he's passed away. But I'm very curious of what he thought. Too bad we don't have his thoughts on this.
Yeah.
Somewhere hidden, maybe we have it, but...
Yeah, that was definitely interesting. I also want to say another funny thing I noticed while watching this movie is, like, do you remember the orientation video that the Looney Tunes show, the Nerdlucks, about basketball?
Yeah.
Yeah. I did not notice until I went back for this viewing. Every shot that they take in the orientation video is a miss.
I didn't realize that until you pointed that out.
Yeah, because I'm watching this and like, literally, they're just bricking shots. And like, you couldn't have gone through the footage and just showed them getting makes at least.
That's so funny. I didn't, like, honestly, God, until you said that right now, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, because
that's too funny.
They do the old orientation video, like, oh, this is the game of basketball. 5 players are on a team, and they're showing them shooting, and like the old black and white, and like. It's like bricks, it's air balls, and like it just.
Oh my God!
It just reminds.
That makes me like this movie more. I didn't think I can like this movie more.
Yeah. It just reminds me. This is a bad like joke comparison. I remember a couple of years ago. I forget which show it was. I want to say it was The Soup. Maybe made a fake commercial about the WNBA where they just showed like the entire commercial was like WNBA players missing like layups and baskets, and they're like trying to get you hyped for the WNBA. Sort of what the tone with this ended up being.
Oh damn!
I just thought that was hilarious.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
I had no words. Like, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting, and I will say watching this after watching The Last Dance was definitely interesting because you do pick up some things. I think the Jordan, like obviously the Swackhammer Stan stuff was fun. I did enjoy the Jordan betting at the golf course with Larry Bird and Bill Murray, because now that feels more realistic. Now he got a deeper dive into his betting.
Yes, definitely. I mean, like, I knew he always enjoyed golf, but like, this like, watching The Last Dance and everything really, amplified that. They amplified his relationship with Larry Bird. Like, I really liked that aesthetic of The Last Dance. And it made me, like, when I rewatched Space Jam, I'm like, that's so cute. Like, they're friends. Like, being who I am and all.
Yeah. That was fun. I remember before that, we did get also the great, line read. I tried to find it online. It was just not on YouTube anywhere. Of Stan Lee listing off all of Jordan's sponsors in one thing. Like, yeah, we'll get in the car, grab your Nikes, we'll drink some Gatorade, we'll go pick up Big Mac on the way to the game.
Yeah, that was just very like creatively done. That was really good. Like,
yeah, that was the first like part of the movie where I really just burst out laughing. I'm like, this is just so blatant like product placement that they just threw it in there.
yeah, and it's just like great because like as a kid, you know what I mean? Like if you were like an adult, basically in the '90s, you understood everything that went on. But as a kid, you just goes right over your head. So like rewatching it, even with this Last Dance and everything, it's just like really, it just solidifies. Like you're just like, wow, it also makes you an adult, which kind of sucks, you know. But it's just really cool to like be on a different level with a movie that you're just so used to.
Yeah, indeed. I also forgot they spent so much time with Jordan playing baseball in the movie, and that Stan actually worked for the minor league baseball team. I did.
Yes.
I forgot that so much. I forgot the great scene where the catcher basically tipping all the pitches to Jordan to try and get him a hit, and he couldn't do it. I thought that was funny.
Yeah. That was great. I love that. They're like, oh, he's gonna throw a fastball, swing. And they're like, don't swing. And then he's like, what are you telling me? Like,
yeah. That was great. I also enjoyed our like your favorite Bill Murray, his appearance in this thing. I do want to point out one fashion faux pas you had there. His
all right, what is it?
The umbrella hat at the golf game. I have to say that one.
What the hell's going on out
here? I love Bill, but what's he doing with that hat?
He's Bill freaking Murray. He can wear whatever the heck he wants, and it's totally acceptable. Like from like end of his life, like, you know, even back then. But I like, okay, so this was, honest to God, this had to be my first ever introduction to Bill Murray. And I remember like watching this from like some classroom in a college, like, you know, college classroom, and thinking, holy crud, I don't know who this person is, but he is funny. And that is where the love of Bill Murray for me started, was back in like 98, 99. So
that is definitely
umbrella hat and all, you know, like what can I say? Like, he's Bill Murray. Like, there's no excuse.
Yeah, I also loved his running subplot of him trying to convince people he could play in the NBA throughout the movie. I thought that was great also.
Yes, I literally like his, like the whole point with, after like Stan takes a picture of Michael and he gets sucked down the golf hole, and he's like, don't point that thing at me. Like, it's just like so funny. Like, and the whole thing, like, you know, no spoilers because this is a 20-something-year-old movie, but he, when he's like, well, like, what are we gonna do, like, Michael Jordan, and literally Bill Murray goes like, dun 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 dun, and he, you know, like that whole entrance was great. Like, what kid knows about Bill Murray? You know what I mean? Like, what child knows about him? But he's funny, he's relatable, he doesn't play defense.
Yeah,
he's great. He's a great addition to this movie.
Yeah, on there obviously because his former Ghostbusters co-star Ivan Reitman helps direct the movie. That gets Bill Murray in, and I do also love this conversation the golf cart with Larry Bird after he leaves. Right, where he's like, "Yeah, you know, like Jordan got one. We'll just give ourselves twos on this hole. He doesn't here to see it. We're too traumatized to putt after that."
Yeah. Oh my God, I just love this movie. It's just like it's such a secret gem, and people just like write it off. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. I also loved the bit, like, I also forgot how funny the play of the NBA players trying to figure out what happened to their talent was. I did enjoy
Oh my God, it's so funny.
Yeah, and I want to talk a little about the choice of the 5 players we had here, because obviously Charles Barkley, star at the time, great choice.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Ewing, great choice. Larry Johnson and Muggsy Bogues on the Hornets, I could get because they were kind of a hot team at the time. How did Sean Bradley...
Oh, wait, I love Muggsy, though. Yeah. But I love Muggsy. He was great.
I said he was fine.
To me, super short, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. I think Muggsy's great. I think he's I'm very pro Muggsy.
Yeah, I'm pro Muggsy, too. He was funny. My question is, why was Sean Bradley in this movie?
I have no idea. He was on the 76ers at the time, right?
He was on the Nets, I think, possibly. I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I couldn't remember if he was on the 76ers at the time or whatever. You know what? Maybe he was good friends with Jordan at the time or something. We don't know these things, you know, as like viewers. We don't know Jordan. We don't know Bradley, but I have no idea. But there he was. Honestly, to be completely honest with you, he was the only player where I was like, what the hell is his name again?
Yeah.
To be honest with you, not to be rude or to like step on anybody's toes, but he was the only one I was like, I don't know his name.
Yeah, it's like you look at that lineup, you're like, which one of these things doesn't belong? It's Sean Bradley. Yeah.
Poor Bradley. I feel like he'll never hear this either, but I'm so sorry, Bradley. Like, so sorry, Sean, about this, but here we are.
I will say, though, the exaggerated part of him just stumbling along the court after the Nardlocks took his talent was actually pretty funny.
He, you know what? Maybe he was like the best actor. Maybe like Michael Jordan's like, you know what? Sean Bradley, he's a good actor. Like, he's really good at it. Who knows?
Yeah.
That's going to be my little hypothesis for you.
I will say also, like, the scenes of them basically, like, all wearing the masks because they're concerned about the gas, like, potentially, like, stealing their talent, and then basically saying we're not playing any more games until they find out what happened to these players. I was like, that held a little too close to home.
Oh, yes. It was. The joke didn't age well in 2020.
Yeah. That's one I forgot about. I'm like, that didn't age very well, and doesn't sit well in 2020. But the NBA's coming back, so that's at least a positive.
Yeah, exactly. We take what we can get, right?
Yep. And I do think we have to take what we can get. And I'll talk a little bit more about the tunes. And obviously, we had to get to them. I want to start off with, before we get there, poor Stan, when he thinks he's lost Michael Jordan, how long do you think it took him to dig up that entire golf course?
Knowing Stan, quote-unquote, Newman from good old Seinfeld, probably like half the afternoon, because I feel like he's a very driven individual. So I feel like he's like, crap, I totally lost my job. I'm going to dig as quick as I can. He probably has solicited some help, secretly, off camera, but definitely be like half afternoon right to dusk, right when it gets dark outside. That's my guess.
Yes, indeed. That was definitely interesting. When we see him, he actually finds his way into Toon World because he happens to catch like Bugs and Daffy coming back with all Jordan's gear, and I just love. Oh yeah. And this is also the part of me made me think that he was a cross metaphor, because Lily Jordan is like, oh, why is he here? And like, he basically puts him on the bench next to like the Looney Tune grandma, and he's like, it's gonna take a while for us to play. He's like, I'm a cheerleader.
Yeah. Oh my God. And then they put him. Oh, I can't even get in there. I'll just digress too far off our subject.
Yeah, definitely a little bit out there. And this is also the first appearance in the Looney Tune universe of Lola Bunny. So how did you feel about Lola Bunny going back watching this again?
Like looking back on everything, I remember, separately, because we're friends outside the podcast, talking about how when I was little, I didn't have a lot of like WNBA players to look up to, because it wasn't as popular back in like the late 90s, at least like in my sector of the world. So like, yeah, I wanted to be, like Michael Jordan. I wanted to be, like the Chicago Bulls, like everybody on there. Like Dennis Rodman, because I love playing defense. But like Lola Bunny, I'm like, oh my goodness, to be like a girl and play basketball, and that was like really cool. So I loved Lola Bunny. Also, she like kicked butt. That was awesome too. She wasn't just like, oh, look at me, I'm playing baseball, like basketball. Oh my God, baseball. You see where my brain is. Yeah. From our earlier conversation. But like, it's like, oh my God, I played like basketball and I kick ass at it, and that was great. Seeing that as like, a 5-6-year-old kid, it's like awesome. She was so cool.
Yeah, and big props to the directors for actually making her like be like the second best player on the Toon Squad after Jordan, and like she was better than any of the other Toons in there. None of them could hold a candle to Lola's playing ability.
No, I mean, I do have my suggestions for a different Looney Tunes player that should be super great, but that's for a different conversation, I guess, or a later question. Who knows?
Yeah, we could discuss this a bit, because I mean, we could talk a little bit about the starting lineup of Jordan picks, because Jordan obviously is starting himself. He starts Lola and Bugs Bunny. He starts Daffy Duck, and he starts Taz. Do you like that starting five?
Yeah.
There's somebody else you should have put in there.
Honestly, Daffy Duck always been an issue with me. I love Tweety Bird post Michael Secret stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I love Tweety Bird, super biased, but he's great. Tweety Bird, I think, is a secret weapon, honestly. But they didn't utilize him as much as I thought they should have.
Yeah, I thought they utilized him not enough. I also think that they did not utilize the Roadrunner speed enough.
Yeah, also they stuck with Tweety and an iron lung.
Yeah.
No need for that. He's a bird.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely interesting. I will say, obviously, we got to talk about this game, because obviously they're getting crushed the first half, and They go in. They had the secrets. They had the Michael gives them the speech, put everyone to sleep. Bugs gives them the secret sauce to get everybody fired up. And I have to say, they come out of the gates in the second half. They go put together the greatest run in basketball history.
Hands down.
To reset for people, the Toon Squad was down 66-18 at the half. They cut it to 68-66. They wanted a 48-2 run for a quarter and a half.
What a run.
That is the stuff of legends right there.
Definitely. And also would only happen in like Toontown, you know?
Yeah.
Like very Toontown-esque.
Yeah, I mean, we get all the Toons doing their things. They're doing their own little tricks to get to score the points. I want to know what happens.
You know what, though?
What's that?
Well, like, Stan's in it, too, though. Like, during that run, Stan gets to go in.
Yeah, Stan gets to go in late in the fourth quarter. We'll get to him in a minute. But I also want to say, when Jordan makes the deal with Swackhammer to basically trade the talent back at the risk of himself going to the park, I'm like, he's going to win. But at the time, David Daffy's like, are you sure? Buzz like, are you sure you want to do that? I'm like, that's not a great idea.
Yeah, that was interesting, after watching The Last Dance and everything with his quote-unquote gambling, issues or whatever. So that might have been just a nice, little playful jab at Michael. Yeah. And, because, like I said, I was too young to fully understand what, a gambling thing was. Being, 5, 6 years old. But, looking back at now, I'm like, can't. At least, Michael Jordan, he could take a joke at his own expense.
Yeah.
Because he knew that's what was going in there. He had to have, last say and everything. Yeah. That was, you know what I mean? That was nice. I'm like, Michael Jordan, he has to be somewhat of a good guy to let that slide.
He does. And also, I want to point out, poor coaching by Swackhammer never calling a timeout to stop the Toon Squad's momentum.
Oh, yeah.
He just let that run keep going and going and going until it got way too late.
Oh, yeah. It's it's Toontown. Things happen like this. It's classic cartoon world situation. Nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, nothing you can do about it until they get a change in tactics, because at that point, he basically, Swackhammer has the Monstars basically do the Jordan rules on the Toon Squad, where they're basically just beating them up to get them out of the game.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, God, it's so funny, too. Side note, I just call that character Danny DeVito. Yeah. I don't care what the hell his name is. It's Danny DeVito. Yeah. He is an alien who owns an amusement park that wants Michael Jordan to play there for the rest of his time if they lose. Yeah. So to me, every time you say the character's name, it's just Danny DeVito.
Yeah. Yeah, so we get. I also that was another good Last Dance thing they see now. Obviously, the Jordan rules thing. We get to the point where poor Stan has to come in the game, and then he gets one basket somehow before he gets completely wrecked.
He gets literally flattened to a pancake.
Yeah. That was a fantastic visual, though. I was laughing so hard when they reinflated Stan.
Yes. Also, me being 5 years old at heart, the whole thing pumping him with air and then making the farty noises, that really hit home for 5-year-old Sam,
Yeah. Sounds like it hit home for 2020 Sam, too.
You know what? Yeah. It did. It did. And I still chuckled, and I still found it very amusing. So thank you for that, Space Jam.
Yes, thank you for that, Space Jam. And then we get the great final sequence where Jordan's they're down a point. The Martian comes up, it's you're down a player. You have to get into the guy, or else you're forfeit. And then out of nowhere, Bill Murray just happens to show up.
That brings a tear to my eye every time I watch the movie. Bill Murray just coming in strong, he's there in his red t-shirt and his Bill Murray jersey, which I do have a replica of, and I wear it every Halloween because I love his character so much.
He comes on. I love how he's I love the scene when he's in the huddle trying to coach the play, and then the Bug's we're on defense, and he's okay, you talk, Michael. I don't do defense.
Yeah, that, and also, they're how did you get here? And he's I know, blah, blah, blah. It was a great breaking of the fourth wall. Yeah. Classic Bill Murray. So good.
Yeah, so what is your personal theory of how he got there? Because obviously he doesn't explain very much in the movie.
100%. He got a call from his agent on his rotary phone, which he has, and he's like, you know what, Michael Jordan needs me.
Yeah.
And honest to God, I think he just walked right to the golf course, got sucked right down to Toontown. He walked in like it was an every other day project, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Nothing phases him.
No, it doesn't. I mean, he gets in around the play, has some decent moves, and then obviously Jordan's taking the last shot, and like Bill's like open. He's like, you know what, like, better off you keep it. Like, I don't want this last shot.
The fact that he's like, I don't play defense. I'm so mad too because I did my graduation cap for my undergraduate. I don't know if you're familiar with Ghostbusters.
Yep.
He's like, Ray, I think he can hear you. Well, you know, it's like, Ray, you know what I mean? I don't know if you remember that part. I'm probably butchering the line. Please don't hate me, internet. It's been a long day. It is actually late at night right now while we're recording. But I think it's time to graduate. Ray was my graduation cap in undergrad. And all I wanted to do for my graduate program, which we were both a part of, was to do a Space Jam themed hat with him on it. But I couldn't think of anything, so I left it blank out of respect for Bill Murray. Because I didn't want to do anything that Bill Murray would not approve of.
Yeah, well, that's definitely fair. And I do love the fact that Bill Murray goes out on top here after he gives the assist on the game-winning basket, and Jordan does the cartoon arm dunk as time expires. And I love how the storyline of Bill trying to become an NBA player comes to an end here, where Jordan's like, you should play, you got games. He's like, I'm done. I'm going out on top.
Yeah, and he has to go ice down his knees.
Yeah.
Who knew I would relate to that so much at an adult level, you know?
Yeah.
So many years later.
Yeah, the shot of him like hobbling off the court is just hysterical.
He's great. I don't care what anybody says about him. I think he's great.
Yeah. I do think it's great. And we see, obviously, get to the end. Jordan gives the NBA guys their talent back. He comes back to the NBA, and then we get our happily ever after. I forgot how funny it is when Jordan comes off the Looney Tune car onto the baseball field. Everyone's like, ooh.
I know. It was just such for such a small part of his career being, quote unquote professional baseball player. They played a lot into that more than basketball in a way, you know?
Yeah. I do think it was interesting also. Remember from The Last Dance, they talked about the film in the movie, and he said that he would basically play pickup games with people at night after he did all the filming, and he was basically using those games to scout his opponents. I'm like, I wish we could have gotten the footage of that on the Space Jam DVD of some of these pickup games.
Yeah, right? A little behind the scenes action. Like, we paid for the DVD. We should get some behind the scenes footage.
Yeah, because we saw the camera crew. It was filmed. We saw him there. We saw like guys like Reggie Miller there. We saw like all the NBA guys there. Like, I would have loved to see just these guys playing like shirts on skins basketball.
Honestly, just 30 seconds. We're not asking them for a full minute. Just give us a little bit, a little tease. Like that, we know the footage is there.
Yeah.
We don't have it, but boy, are we jealous that you have it.
Yeah, and obviously we're bringing this up now because there is a sequel in the works. Did you know that there were a couple of attempts to spin the franchise off in a different direction after Space?
No, I actually did not know that at all. Like I've heard some things. I'm not sure if they're true or they're on part of my own imagination. But honest to God, no, I have not.
So basically the story is here that they were trying to get Jordan to do Space Jam 2. He did not want to do it. They talk about some other like sports themed or like other themes of a Space Jam movie. Bring the tunes in with a live action star. So I'll give you a couple of them. This is off the wiki, so I don't know how accurate they actually are, but here are a couple. Would you like Spy Jam with Jackie Chan?
I don't know. What year is it?
No, these are ones that were floated and never got made.
Okay. Depending on the year, I definitely might want to see that.
So that was one. That was basically the premise ended up being morphed into Looney Tunes back in action. That was the original idea.
Okay. Oh, all right. I'm not going to lie. It's a poor movie, but I actually enjoy it.
Would Jackie Chan improve the movie?
I love Jackie Chan.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's going to be interesting. I think there's a 30 for 30 on him. Not him. My mistake. That's Bruce Lee. That's a different person.
Bruce Lee. Yeah. Regardless, both of them, they're great. But I think it's I can't flip around and do cool stuff. Yeah. Watching Jackie Chan's earlier work is just so freaking awesome. Yeah. But I'm so sorry to interrupt. I'm on a Jackie Chan train.
No worries about that one. Another option. Race Jam with Jeff Gordon.
No. I don't understand NASCAR. Never will. That doesn't. I'm so glad that this was not made.
Yeah.
So glad.
Skate Jam with Tony Hawk.
That would have been so awesome. I'm so upset.
Yeah,
I'm so upset right now. You know what, though? They can do it now because Tony Hawk's on the up and up.
Yeah, Tony Hawk could do it if they weren't doing Space Jam 2. The other one that was a possibility was a golf-themed one with Tiger Woods.
Ugh, I'm so sorry. And again, golf, I get it. It's a great sport. I don't understand it. But no. All I think about is, I don't know if you've ever seen, and I know I'm dating myself, completely off topic, Sesame Street, Elmo and Grouchland.
Yeah, I've seen it. Not in a while, but I have.
Okay, but Elmo loves Tiger Woods, so that could have never worked. It's too conflicting with two different worlds of children's entertainment. You know?
Yep.
I'm really upset of this Tony Hawk thing.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. I would have liked to see Tony Hawk.
If anyone's listening now, I totally would still watch Tony Hawk do skateboarding stuff with the Looney Tunes, and also they're revamping the Tony Hawk Pro Skater. As I smush all my words together, they're coming out with that. They're re-releasing that soon, so maybe we can have a space or a tune skate, or I don't even know. But I'd be very excited for that.
It would be, but right now we do have Space Jam 2 coming up. LeBron is in it, and this is the only cast we know so far. LeBron's in it. Don Cheadle is it, but he does not saying who he's playing. It is not himself. He's playing an actual character in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Sonequa Martin Green is playing LeBron's wife. When we did we talked about this back, I think in February of 19. We talked about this idea. We whiffed on all the NBA players that were in this. We got none of them right.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, we didn't. I was thinking about that too.
Yeah. The NBA players is Klay Thompson, Anthony Davis, Damian Lillard, Kyle Kuzma, Chris Paul. Not bad. I think our cast was better.
I don't know. I'm very excited to see Klay Thompson and Chris Paul in there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's just with my bias, because I like them as players.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm very worried about this movie, so I don't want to say too many negative things because it might blow my mind. It might be great,
Yeah. One thing you did get right though, you did say there would be WNBA players in this movie. You do have 3 WNBA players are going to cameo in this movie: Diana Taurasi, Chini Ungwumike, and Nneka Ungwumike are all going to be in the movie.
Yep, and also oh my god, I'm just so excited. Not the fact that I got that right with WNBA players, but the whole fact that there's going to be women basketball players in the movie. I'm really hoping that if it's similar to Space Jam, the original plot, that they steal WNBA players because they're wow, we learned our lesson last time. We can't take from the NBA, we have to take from the WNBA. That's my little I hope that kind of happens,
Yeah, I wonder what the angle is going to be, though, because LeBron is still playing basketball, so it'll be interesting to see what direction they use to get him in this story.
I have no idea. I was honestly, debating this all day, what it's going to be about, and I literally can't fathom, anything. Honest to God, I can't think that, is this in the future, and LeBron's, looking back on his career, or if he's telling a story of, a certain incident. I don't know. It's just very interesting.
I'm also very shocked Dwayne Wade is not in this because he and LeBron are best friends.
Yeah, Then you get to the whole professional thing where you're there could have been scheduling issues, or he didn't actually want to be in it, or something, or he didn't get enough money for it. Yeah. So doesn't it stink when you're actually in the field that you learn all these things? It just takes away the fun, the magic of it,
Yeah, we talk about that was the top of the show too. It's with baseball right now. I don't really love hearing about the money fighting here. I'd rather just get this settled, get them on the field.
Baseball is literally at the forefront of my brain. As my mess up earlier, as you heard me say, baseball, not basketball.
Yeah.
I'm just stressed about everything going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
So you can tell that baseball is making me all sorts of feelings, all the feelings through baseball.
Yep, indeed. And I'm looking forward to, I'm sure, usually about 6 months before the movie comes out, we get a trailer. So it's coming out in July. I expect by Christmas we're getting a trailer for Space Jam 2.
Yeah, I mean, like, do you think it's actually going to come out then, though?
I think as long as theaters are open, they will, because they had finished production, but when the pandemic started, they had the wrap party, I think, right before all the lockdowns happened. I think they were just working on animation, which it can be done remotely.
That is true. I was just, pessimistic, Sam. It's like, it's not going to come out this year. They're going to wait. That's my fear. So I don't want to get my hopes too up that it's going to come out this year,
Well, they have July 2021. I think by then it should be fine.
I really hope so. I thought it was supposed to come out this summer, and that's why.
Yeah, a lot of stuff's supposed to come out this summer, and a lot of it has not come out yet. So, that's
very true.
It is very true. And Les, I want to thank you for all your time. Before we get to the end, I want to ask you, as I've asked everybody who's been on this spot this week, what's the stuff you've been streaming lately?
What have I been streaming? I've been doing a lot of catch up on just like older shows, but just started Space Force on Netflix. Very funny, and I think it's very well made and everything. Acted by Steve Carell, Lisa Kudrow. I watched the entirety of Outer Banks. I'm still processing everything. So take that as it is. I finished Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I finished Golden Girls. I still am saving the last Tiger King episode for a super rainy day. But that's all I've been streaming. I've been trying to be well-rounded in all of my streaming services,
Yeah, I get you. By the way, I did actually finish Tiger King.
You watched every single episode. I just saw something in the news. I don't know. Did you see that today?
Yeah.
What happened with Carol Baskin?
Yep, I saw that she got Joe Exotic Zoo.
Baffled. You need to make a second season. This documentary is still going. I feel so bad for that man who has created this documentary.
Yeah, it's such a dumpster fire. Like, you were right, I did enjoy it, but at the end of it, I did seriously, like, as I told Pete last week, I was sitting there going,
What the hell's going on out here?
Like, these are awful people, all of them.
All of them. Just straight across the board, every single person in that documentary. And imagine thinking about, as you made that awesome documentary about the history of the home run. Like, imagine if that was, like, you went in thinking about that, and it ended up being this, like, multi-year, like, multi-person, like, this complex documentary. Like, I just can't thank my lucky stars that I did not have to do that documentary for my master's thesis.
Yeah.
That's all I thought about watching the entire time. Like, wow, so glad that's not me.
Yeah, that was something else. And I will say also, the 8th episode, the bonus episode's a letdown.
It's a letdown?
Yes, it's literally just Joel McHale, like, Skyping with different people who were on the show, and none of them really add much to it.
Oh, seriously?
That's all it is. It's not
so maybe I will never watch that 8th episode then.
I watched it. It was literally like watching paint dry, because Joel McHale literally just talking to a bunch of people in there. He talks to Jeff and Lauren Lowe. He talks to Safi. He talks to... he doesn't even talk to, like, Doc Antle or any of them. He talks... I'm
sure they didn't allow that after. I'm sure they felt embarrassed by their what they look like on the documentary. But isn't Joel McHale the guy from Community?
Yep.
See, that's another thing I watched. Watched seasons 1 through 5. Could not finish season 6.
Yeah, so maybe this downtime, while we're still waiting for sports to come back, we got another month and a half, it sounds like, that we get something. So maybe we'll finish Community by then.
Maybe. It's like pulling teeth at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you seen Criminal Minds?
I have not. It was a little too gory for me when it came on.
Gotcha. Well, it's on Netflix, I believe, as of today.
Yeah.
Really good. Really good things to just like put on and not really pay attention to, because there's no like big plot.
Yeah.
But there is, I don't remember the actress's name, but she's in Community in season 6, and I'm just like, what are you doing here? Like, this is what you did after Criminal Minds, and it's not as funny. There's no Donald Glover, so it's just no Chevy Chase. It's kind of a letdown. I think I watched 2 episodes. I couldn't finish it. I don't even know if I'm gonna finish it, to be completely honest with you.
That's a cliffhanger for next time. We'll ask you next time you're on. We'll find out if you actually finished it or not.
Watch me not. That's my bet. I'm betting against myself. Watch me not finish it.
All right, we'll put that down. We'll check on it next time you're on, Sam. Thanks again for coming. I really appreciate it. Before I let you go, how people find on social media and keep up with the stuff you're up to? You
can follow me on Twitter at SDEROS5. on Twitter, Instagram, SD, like Derosa175. I post some pretty fun pictures. I posted a fun one on Earth Day and everything. I just have never thrown on Instagram. I just felt like it was the right time, you know?
Yeah, so both platforms are out there if you want to follow her. Sam, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and can't wait to be on again soon.